Put a modern man in a completely empty room for 1 hour. Give him absolutely nothing. No smartphone, no television, no music, no someone to talk to. Just him, a chair, and absolute deafening silence. Do you know what happens? Within the first 15 minutes, he will begin to lose his mind. His hands will twitch. He will pace back and forth like a caged animal. He will feel a crushing, suffocating weight on his chest. It will feel like a panic attack. But it is not a panic attack. It is simply the sound of his own reality finally catching up to him. We live in a civilization that is absolutely terrified of silence. You are surrounded by a society that has weaponized noise. They have given you a digital pacifier to keep in your mouth from the moment you wake up until the second you fall asleep. You listen to podcasts while you shower. You scroll through short videos while you eat. You text people you do not even like just to see a notification pop up on your screen. You think you are just staying entertained, but you are not. You are running. You are sprinting away from the ghosts of your own unfulfilled potential. Because the moment you are left alone in the quiet, the illusions shatter. The silence strips away your ego. In the silence, a voice wakes up inside your head, and that voice does not care about your excuses. It tells you exactly how much time you have wasted. It tells you the brutal truth about the man you have become compared to the man you were supposed to be. That is why you hate being alone. That is why you call it loneliness and treat it like a terminal disease. Welcome back to the silent grind. Today, we are going to tear down the greatest lie you have ever been told about being alone. We are going to take that terrifying isolation, and we are going to forge it into the most dangerous weapon a man can carry. We are shifting from the desperation of loneliness to the absolute, unshakable power of solitude. Loneliness happens when you are empty and you need the world to fill you up. Solitude happens when you are so full of purpose, vision, and relentless drive that the noise of the world becomes an absolute distraction. The weak seek the crowd to hide themselves. The strong seek the wilderness to find themselves. It is time to step into the dark. Look at the architecture of human history. Look at the men who actually moved the world forward. No massive empire, no revolutionary invention, and no great philosophy was ever conceptualized in the middle of a loud, crowded room. Greatness is not born in the noise of the masses. Greatness is forged in the absolute, crushing pressure of isolation. When you look at the top 1% of men, the builders, the conquerors, the visionaries, they all share one undeniable trait. They possess an unnatural tolerance for being completely alone. They do not just tolerate it, they crave it. They protect their alone time with a ruthlessness of a dragon guarding its gold. Why? Because they understand the fundamental law of energy exchange. Every meaningless conversation you have, every message you reply to, every social event you attend out of obligation, drains a fraction of your life force. When you are constantly accessible to everyone, you belong to the world. You are a public utility. But when you lock the door, turn off the screen, and embrace solitude, you finally belong to yourself. You take all that scattered, wasted energy and focus it into a single, blinding laser beam. Imagine your mind is a deep, pristine lake. When you are surrounded by people, opinions, drama, and digital noise, the water is constantly disturbed. It is muddy. You cannot see the bottom. You cannot see who you truly are or what you actually want. But when you step away into solitude, The winds die down. The water becomes completely still. The mud settles to the bottom. And for the first time in your life, you achieve absolute terrifying clarity. In this state of hyperfocus, the real work begins. I call it the forge of greatness. A forge is not a comfortable place. It is incredibly hot. It requires you to strike the heavy iron over and over again until your hands bleed. When you are alone, you must face your own weaknesses. You must sit at your desk and do the boring, unglamorous, repetitive work that nobody else wants to do. There is no one there to applaud you. There's no one there to tell you that you are doing a good job. You have to become your own source of validation. The modern average man views an empty Friday night as a tragic failure. He looks at his phone, sees no notifications, and spirals into depression. He feels worthless because he has tied his entire identity to how much attention he receives from others. But the dangerous man, the man on the silent grind, he looks at an empty calendar and smiles. To him, an empty weekend is not a curse. It is a blank canvas. It is 48 uninterrupted hours to outwork his competition. It is a massive strategic advantage. Stop feeling sorry for yourself because you're sitting alone in your room. Stop looking out the window at the people partying and thinking you are missing out. You are not missing out on anything. They are trading their future for a cheap, temporary distraction. You are trading your temporary comfort for a permanent empire. The isolation you feel right now is not a punishment. It is the price of admission to the top 1%. You are in the forge. Let it burn. We have established that solitude is the forge where greatness is built. But now, we must address the poison that will instantly ruin the iron you are trying to shape. That poison is your addiction to validation. Look at the modern landscape. Men do not go to the gym to build an unbreakable body anymore. They go to take a photograph in the mirror so strangers can validate their existence. They do not read books to expand their minds. They post the cover of the book on social media so people will think they are intellectual. They are not actually living their lives. They are just actors playing a role, desperate for the applause of an audience who does not genuinely care about them. When you require someone else to tell you that you are doing a good job, you have completely surrendered your power. You have become a beggar. You are holding out an empty cup, begging for a drop of praise, a like, a comment, or a compliment. And the moment the crowd stops clapping, you collapse. Your motivation dies. If your drive disappears when nobody's watching, then you never had discipline. You only had an ego. To master the art of solitude, you must undergo the validation detox. This means you must learn to achieve incredible things and tell absolutely no one. When you announce your goals to the world, your brain releases a premature hit of dopamine. You get the reward of feeling successful before you have done a single drop of the hard work. You trick your nervous system into thinking the battle is already won. This is exactly why men who talk the most achieve the least. Stop telling people what you are going to do. Stop posting your progress. Stop seeking a pat on the back for doing what you are supposed to be doing as a man. Keep your mouth shut. Work in the absolute shadows. Wake up in the dark, do the grueling work, bleed for your vision, and then go about your day as if nothing happened. When you accomplish a massive milestone and you are the only person on earth who knows about it, something magical happens. You build a profound, unshakable reservoir of self-respect. You realize that you do not need the external world to crown you as a king. You crown yourself. You become entirely self-validating. And a man who validates himself is a man who cannot be controlled, bought, or manipulated by the opinions of society. He becomes a ghost to the matrix, but a titan in reality. He does not need a spotlight because he has become the fire. This brings us to the ultimate evolution of the silent grind, the creation of the untamable man. Understand how society controls you. How do toxic relationships control you? How do terrible bosses control you? They use one single weapon, the threat of isolation. They imply, if you do not do what I want, if you do not comply, if you do not fit in, we will abandon you. You will be left all alone. For the average man, this is a death sentence. He will compromise his morals, lower his standards, and endure extreme disrespect just to avoid being cast out. But what happens when they threaten a man who actually loves his solitude? What happens when you tell a man who has mastered the silent grind that he will be left alone? You have absolutely no power over him. You have stripped yourself of your only weapon. When you are no longer afraid to sit at a table for one, when you are no longer afraid to work alone in the dark, and when you are completely willing to walk a path that nobody else understands, you become absolutely invincible. No one can threaten you with abandonment, because you have already abandoned the need for their presence. You become untamable. This is the standard from this day forward. You will no longer run from the silence. You will use it as your personal forge. You will stop bleeding your energy into meaningless crowds, and you will start pouring it into your own empire. If you have made it to the end of this video, it means you have the discipline to listen to the brutal truth. Now, you must prove you have the discipline to execute it. Go down to the comments right now and make your declaration. Type these exact words. I stand alone. Let this be the signature of your new mindset. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are building an army of men who operate in the shadows and let their massive results make all the noise. Embrace the silence, build your empire, and stay cold.